Spielberg's masterpiece, 2001, A Space Odyssey.
Hi, I'm Keir, a member of the Channel 5 Movie Club. Tonight, we're in for a rare treat, thanks to WNEW-FM and the Channel 5 Movie Club. 2001: A Space Odyssey is probably the most widely referred to movie of the past 2 decades. It's the film that set the standards for most science fiction pictures which were to follow. It greatly influenced directors and producers like Steven Spielberg and George Lucas. It is the predecessor of Star Wars, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, War Games, and a host of other movies. You know, when 2001 was first shown in 1968, it was dismissed by some of the critics. It confused many audiences. But today, the story seems clear as crystal. The ideas are easy to grasp, and the effects are nothing short of dazzling. Prepare yourself for a visit to the dawn of man, a trip to the moon, a voyage to Jupiter and beyond, some encounters with monoliths planted by a higher force, and a face-to-face struggle with HAL 9000, a computer with murder on his mind. You'll also witness my own personal transformation by a supreme being into the Star Child, perhaps the single most exciting vision created by Arthur Clarke and Stanley Kubrick. Later, during an intermission, I'll tell you a bit more about the making of 2001. Now, tune in your FM stereo set or Walkman to WNEW-FM at 102.7, switch all your TV sets to Channel 5, and have a multimedia event in your own home like never before. 2001: A Space Odyssey will be shown with limited commercial interruptions and begins after these messages.
2001: A Space Odyssey will be shown with limited commercial interruptions and simulcast in stereo on WNEW-FM 102.7.
I was finishing up work on Bunny Lake is Missing in London in 1967 when I visited a fun fair at Battersea Park. There was a palmist who looked at my hand and he said he saw a spaceship. Well, the very next day, I received a call from Stanley Kubrick inviting me to appear in 2001: A Space Odyssey. Stanley is a genius. He's a Renaissance man. I was in great awe of his pictures by that time. Dr. Strangelove, Lolita. So working with him was a great pleasure. Actors, I don't think ever get really defensive with him because we have total trust in him and his ideas. The most memorable scene for me was the one you will see shortly when I blast myself from the vacuum of space into the emergency pod bay. There was a horizontal set which was constructed upside down, and I was suspended by a piano wire balanced by one circus roustabout. I think you'll find the scene very effective. After the film, I'll tell you my thoughts about its spectacular conclusion. Our special Channel 5 Movie Club showing of 2001: A Space Odyssey is a stereo simulcast of WNEW-TV and WNEW-FM. Back to the picture after these messages.
In a moment, the final sequences of 2001: A Space Odyssey. In a moment, final comments by Keir and the closing credits of 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Making 2001: A Space Odyssey was a subjective experience for Gary Lockwood and all the other members of the cast. While we were briefed on our own characters in great depth, we weren't familiar with all the effects or the story or philosophy during the shooting. We saw the film the way you did 15 years ago, or this evening. Awestruck, thrilled, confused, and delighted. Perhaps we can look at 2001 as the greatest birthday film of all time. The birth of man, the rebirth of man into the next stage, symbolized by the Star Child returning to Earth at the conclusion. The clues are all there. Haywood Floyd wished his daughter a happy birthday from space. Poole's parents called him from Earth to wish him a happy birthday. And during HAL 9000's lobotomy, he mentioned his birthday. However one approaches the picture, it is one to remember, and I'm proud I was a part of it. Next week, the Channel 5 Movie Club presents Sean Connery, Donald Sutherland, and Leslie Ann Down in The Great Train Robbery, a delightful Michael Crichton thriller that will take us back to the 19th century. Thanks for joining me for this special stereo simulcast. This is Keir Dullea. Good night.